This week's episode of Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by Start New Company. Register your company immediately today with ASIC. ABN, TFN, GST registration is also available directly from the portal. Also set up your family trust and self-managed superannuation fund and more. All at startnewcompany.com.au. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/startnewco and keep an eye out for our regular specials. Start your new company now within 10 minutes of lodgement. All legal company documentation provided after registration. startnewcompany.com.au. And also brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. All our servers are operating on SSD drives, immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, and more. Easy install WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and 300 other one-click installations. Generous space and bandwidth, auto backups, WordPress help and maintenance plans are also available on Contact. If your web page is important for your business or your life, contact us today. Aussie support, secure services, athwebhosting.com.au. And now for the show.
Welcome to episode 707 of the Aussie Tech Heads, recorded on the 17th of December 2020. I'm your host, Jason Oakley, and this is my crazy co-host, Will Tompkinson. Hey, Will.
Hey, mate. How goes it?
Merry Christmas. Oh, ho, ho.
Weirdo.
That was a surprise I thought I'd throw in.
Nobody was surprised as you.
Right. It's probably our last show for the year and all that. And even Glenn, Glenn's not here. Glenn said he was going to be here. What happened?
He's here with spirits. I mean, he's here in spirit.
He's had too many spirits, and that's him over in the corner. Make sure you subscribe, everyone. Only a small percentage of our watchers subscribe. Hit that bell. Click the subscribe and likes.
It's there we go. Yeah, there he is. See, he joined us.
There he is.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's been on the spirit, doesn't he?
he's saying as much as he usually does. So there you go.
He's that guy who talks really fast at the start of the show. And you can't understand anything what he's saying.
See, I told you I had a spider cage floating around.
Ah, you did too. Nobody wants any floating spiders.
That's pre-show.
Hi to Adelaide from mid-north coast and also west of Brisbane.
Ippy switchy.
Yeah. How's things going out at Ippy switchy?
Really, really muggy.
Yeah. It's been what? My daughter keeps complaining. Just walking around the house, the walls feel like they're wet. The carpet feels like it's wet. What are you supposed to do? I'm like,
you try to write on something.
This is what happens when you got humidity. You haven't experienced it really since you've been here.
Yeah, and you try to write on something and like it just disintegrates under your pen and.
Yeah. It's a bit ridiculous, mate.
Oh, it's horrible. I got a fan above me and I got a fan there.
Yeah.
They're both going flat out. It's still 29 degrees. It feels like about 45 with the humidity that's going on at the moment. It's absolutely nuts.
Ridiculous, yeah. I got the fan going here and the AC going in the corner. It's on night mode though, so hopefully a bit quieter. But yeah, we had pouring rain and then stop, and then pouring rain and then stop. It's been going like crazy the last few days. Some places getting flooded up a bit further north.
Yeah, well, my dad's in Lismore, and they've had a lot of rain. They had some minor flooding in low areas, which always happens there.
Yep.
Major flood warning was called off. He had about 2 or 3 inches of water under his house. He went and it slowed down and sort of ran away, and he thought, oh, cool. So he went and had a sleep for a couple of hours, and he come back and there's 2 foot of water under his house.
Oh, jeez.
So...
Coffs Harbour had a sinkhole open up in the middle of town.
Yeah, and some of the there was one I was watching where there was literally like the bitumen road for like a 10-meter span. There's nothing under it. Like it just washed out completely underneath it.
It's crazy. If we're not on fire, we're flooding. It's got to be one or the other extreme.
Or dying of some imaginary virus, apparently.
Or great big hard water balls smashing through your roof.
Yeah, still recovering from that one.
Yeah, going to be a while.
Oh yeah, it's years.
At least you don't have the river coming in your back door, do you?
Well, my in-laws do because they had a tile roof which is still smashed, so they've had like waterfalls inside recently.
Jeez.
So
you don't want to get one of those waterfront houses.
No, they got a water in the front of their house.
Yeah, we're just saying. Glenn had a bit of flooding happen. Was it a couple of years ago? And he finally got through all that. Now it's almost happening again.
Yeah. He's it's not as bad this time. It's mostly just this time. It's just runoff. Last time it was actual like pooling.
Oh, river was in his back door.
Low-lying areas and stuff. But this time it's basically just he needs to have it set up so that he's got a swale drain out the front that runs on a 45-degree angle that pushes the water down the side of the house because he's got a hill block and the house is like off to one side a bit and one side's pretty much empty, so he should have the swale drain going across to that side and running the water down the side. But because he's on a hill and he's right in front of the gutter, as soon as the gutter overflows, it just runs right down. So it ends up, it basically ends up just flooding the house. It also, too, he backs onto a river, so when the water level comes up, if it's a high tide, the water's got nowhere to go.
Yep.
So it floods from both sides.
He's got it coming down the hill and going up the hill.
Yep. That's the joys of living at the Gold Coast. You deserve everything you get.
Joys. Yeah, Glenn said sorry he couldn't be here. He says hi to everyone and Merry Christmas, all that. He's going to try and get on one of the shows, but
he did not read that. He didn't say Merry Christmas. Read that message properly.
I'll have to bring that one up.
Didn't you say
to translate?
Didn't you say
Glenn's
wish everybody a Merry Heist?
Yeah, Merry Heist. So if you're robbing any banks,
congrats.
Soon, I hope you have a good time. There's this good movie you might want to watch called The Italian Job, or maybe Ocean's 11.
Yeah, only the Oceans. Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Didn't they do a casino or something?
They've multiple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Oceans 11, 12, 13, 14.
And 8 now.
Yep.
It's a bit crazy. Now they're rebooting Indiana Jones 5. Something to look forward to. Why do they keep doing these things?
They're rebooting it. See, they're
going to do the nerds.
They're recommissioning Firefly.
What?
I saw it today pop up.
Is that Disney?
Recommissioning Josh Whedon's Firefly.
Disney's just doing like everything, 10 Star Wars shows and everything.
Well, what was the other one? Was I put on my wall the other day? Hang on, I have to go back and have a look now. It was I sent you the message for it. I can't remember now. Something else. And they just they
reboot all the things, right?
Pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. Hey, look, I got an idea for this show. It's about these guys who did that thing. Wait, that was a movie 30 years ago. Yeah, but I got this great idea for this show where they do.
We got different actors doing exactly the same thing. People gonna love it. You know how they just re-release all the old songs
Mighty
again?
Ducks.
Mighty Ducks, that's right, yeah. I just got to it in my...
So nice.
Son of a bitch.
Although this is a bit different. Admittedly, it is actually a continuation because it is actually set like 20 years later. So it's not a reboot. So there's that.
That's all right then. Not
dear.
Crazy. So what are these people doing down here and up the top?
Hey, I don't know. That is like putting their names there. I have no control over what happens there.
Damn hackers.
All the hacks. So, we got paid. You can give us money because we're broke and we need it, and
money.
I'm not one to ask for money, but give me money.
Rich man.
Basically, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/AussieTechHeads. There's a few different tiers there. There's also plans, so for different amounts. They're going to come with various perks and things at the moment. Basically, the entry level one just gets your name up on the screen and stuff like that. And if hopefully nobody subscribes to any of the high tiers, because then we'll have to actually do things. So, but we're going to be reworking that in the new year if things go according to plan, and you'll get a few more perks for your money. You can give us money through PayPal as well. Just contact us if you wish to do it that way, which some people do, because then you're not linked to a third party anywhere. Or of course you can do it through Ko-fi as well, which is ko-fi. You can find us on there as well.
Right.
And we do often do things. Yeah, I know, right? We do often do things for our supporters, and this particular end of this episode, actually, because that was the deadline, and we're running late, so I gave you a bit of extra time to become a supporter, and you will get. So the names we currently have, such as Kate and Bouncing Yellow Skull and Daniel and Amanda and who's our patron? Andrew G, I believe, and a few other people that do it. David Bird. We also have anonymous paid people as well which if you wish to remain anonymous and just give us money for nothing, that's perfectly fine by me.
And the checks are free.
And so what we're going to do is at the end of this episode, I'm going to draw 4 random names or a random generator that I have, and I will send them. I'll get in contact with them, and you'll have a choice of either getting like a Coles Myer gift card or a Kogan gift card. So have fun with that. So you should have given us money. See? Then you would have got some money.
Thank you.
Really, it's like a $25 card. So you could have supported us for like 6 months and you could have still come out in front.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
And you need it for Christmas, right?
Well, it'll be a digital card, so you'll get it.
Yep.
You'll get
Just
it.
Forward the email onto whoever you can't be bothered buying a present for.
And look, I got you something. I thought long and hard and decided this is exactly what you need.
Care of Aussie Tech. What? Thanks, Mom.
And a free subscription to Aussie Tech Heads.
Just click that subscribe button and don't forget to like us and hit that bell.
You can like us, you can unlike us. I don't care. It all makes the algorithm work, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, we do thank the people who are supporting us. It does make a difference, and the money does get used for internal operations, whether it's software for streaming, or whether it's one of us needs new hardware components, or whether we buy Glenn a new computer for next Christmas.
So he can
you guys think we're
joking?
joking?
Really need it for that.
The hilarious part is, I wonder how many people listen to. Oh yeah, they're just saying that because no, we're not. We're really not. Glenn really needs.
Got like a 486 or something. I don't know.
It's so bad. Like he's unable to literally open like more than 3 Chrome tabs at the same time, and that's just.
It's only a DX4100. Man, they were great back in the day. You remember that?
Yeah, I could play Duke on that at like 800 by 600 all day.
Right. And you can play Doom on a pregnancy tester. What's coming in the future? Who knows?
There's a guy I was watching. He played Doom on one of the scientific calculators, and he decided to see how many potatoes it took to power it. And it was like 3,000 potatoes powering his calculator playing Doom.
Dear. Everyone knows that I've been raving about my Amiga and having much fun with that, with the GoTech and stuff. Amiga Addict magazine has just launched their first episode with Amiga Bill on the cover. So
nice.
If anyone likes Amiga stuff, give it a sub. You can do 12 months. I'm doing digital only just because it takes like 6 years for anything to come from the UK. But I'll download the PDF later and have a read through it. But you can get the actual physical issues and stuff. And everyone knows that I support Free 64. If you subscribe soon, you'll get my free game, Toxic Frenzy, plus 2 other games, plus other specials coming from Vinny. He's a great dude.
But really, it's all about your game, really. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is actually one of those things, I guess coming into Christmas, it is sort of something you should think about, like, being what do we say? Being like this year, being as weird as it is, people don't necessarily need things because they haven't gone through or worn out the things they would normally use.
Yep.
So maybe it is a good time to start looking at subscriptions, whether it be digital or a physical copy. Like I subscribe to Diode magazine, DIYODE, and they're a DIY magazine. Obviously, they're very reminiscent of the old makers magazines of the past, where they have projects and things like that, and they have a digital and a physical copy. You can subscribe. I think it's like $5 a month for the digital copy and $10 a month for the physical copy. And you get the online stuff for free, and you know there's heaps of projects and big community there, and there's a a lot of the what they call the what's it called, the STEAM stuff now, the science, technology.
Oh, yeah,
STEM. What is it? Science, technology, electronics.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it's quite popular now. There's a Kiwi one called Kiwi Co or something, which is an American.
I was just saying, so many people have signed up for computer sciences in the last year.
Yeah.
They know it's the future.
I think it's Kiwi Co. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's it. Kiwi Co. And you can get all these different packs that for different age groups in different categories, and you know it helps with the kids, but it's also adults. You know, it goes right up into the suitable for adults as well. And but if you got kids who are like, you know, hands-on stuff, it's a great idea for that sort of stuff. And it's on sale. Maybe you get like 30% off. You get like 3 months free or something.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing. Like, okay, it's you know, it might be $20 a month, but I mean, you could spend $20 a month on Netflix, or you could spend $20 a month on a STEM kit. You know, like I'd much prefer to spend the $20, get your hands dirty, build something, have something at the end of it, learn something from it. $20 on Netflix, yeah, right. It's fine, but 90% of that stuff you can get elsewhere anyway. And at the end of the day,
Netflix is what you put on when you're busy looking at your phone and need something in the background.
yeah, you know, a lot of these subscriptions I think are a great idea, and not just the subscription itself, the community that's behind them. So like they've all got their forums, they've all got their Discord channels now, they've all got interactive help and online, and it's the giant communities. So you know, if you know that you know, you get the 5 to 8 year old, for example, for Cam, I'd get the 5 to 8 year old science and technology one, for example.
Yep.
And I know that if I put him on that forum, whether it's on the Discord or whether it's on the forum, and we go through it, it's pretty much all kids 5 to 8, you know, with their parents obviously, but that's basically what it is. And you know, there's all the problem solving
for
there,
their kids.
and
They'll remember it for years to come when they get older.
it gives them life
Remember
skills.
how, Dad,
you know.
we used to do those things? We soldered them together and we made a crystal radio.
Yeah, you know, I mean, most kids wouldn't even know what a crystal radio is these days.
Nope.
You know, unless you help them out. But I think that's you know, but that's the sort of thing I'm thinking is going to be quite popular this year, rather than huge amounts of physical gifts, because people just don't need them. Or if the kids have been home for the last 6 months, they've got they've got the Xbox, they've got the subscription, they've got you know,
iPhone and
yeah,
a
so
Wii and
that's
Switch.
the physical side of stuff isn't really required so much as I think just the potential experiences you can get, whether it's even in some cases it might be something like you might buy them a toolbox and they can start building their own things, or you might buy them a tent, and you know, a tent and a basic camping, like a sleeping bag and stuff like that, and they might like to go camping, or you know, just something that's out of the ordinary, but something that creates experiences rather than just
If you want to show them
killing
some of the
time.
old stuff, get a Raspberry Pi 400 keyboard and put emulators on it. And you were saying you were having fun with Cam playing some of the old games, right?
Well, yeah, we fired up the old, what do they call it, the Nintendo, the reboot thing they did.
Yep.
And you know, it got started because a week or so ago, I discovered a Mario emulator running on a web browser, and it was okay, but it wasn't Mario. Like, It didn't. The little nuances that are in the original game that it didn't have, like you couldn't slide under tiles, that you could, things, just little basic things. So anyway, I fired up the thing today this afternoon, and Cam's down there and he's giggling and carrying on and loving it, and playing what is it now, effectively 30-year-old console, basically, and Exciter Bike and Mario and what else did we play? Ghouls and Ghosts and a couple others, Bubble Bubble, and and he's having a great fun with these effectively old games. Like, he plays some newer games. He plays Minecraft. He plays Live for Speed and a couple other racing games and stuff like, and Lego and that. But it's an entirely different experience playing a 30-year-old game with a square joypad than it is playing, these other games
keyboard and mouse
on a PS3 controller with analog sticks and keyboard and mouse. And he's like, oh, he's like, are we playing on the server? Can other people come and join our game? I'm like, trying to explain to him that that whatever other players are in the game are controlled by the computer. They're not real people.
Yeah.
And
we didn't have that technology back then.
Can't get your friends to join you, and so.
Should we start on some news?
Oh, I suppose so.
An Australian regulator sued Facebook, accusing it of collecting user data without permission, building on government efforts around the world to rein in the social network. The ACCC said it was seeking an unspecified fine from Facebook for promoting a virtual private network as a way for people to protect their data, while secretly using the information to pick targets for commercial acquisitions. The lawsuit echoes a landmark US Federal Trade Commission action accusing the social media giant of inappropriately maintaining market dominance by using customer data to decide on takeover targets, including messaging app WhatsApp and imaging sharing app Instagram. There's a link to what the FTC is saying, but they're looking at a competition issue, ACCC chairman said. We're looking at the consumer. The Facebook spokeswoman said the company was always clear about the information we collect and how it's used. I'm sure they are.
But it just says we collect everything. I mean,
we collect everything and use it how we want. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it says. I mean, it can't get much clearer than that.
We will review the recent filing by the ACCC and will continue to defend our position in response to this in recent filings, she added. Facebook shut down the VPN product in 2019. Earlier this month, Australia went ahead with plans to make Facebook and internet giant Google pay domestic media outlets for content that appeared on their websites at SIM's recommendation. The Australian privacy regulator has a separate lawsuit against Facebook, accusing it of breaching user privacy with a personality test run by political marketing consultant Cambridge Analytica. Facebook is defending that action too. Jeez, they must have a ton of lawyers, make a ton of money. ACCC is also suing Google, alleging it misled users about data collection. Unlike the US lawsuit, which may force Facebook to sell assets, the Australian lawsuit may force the company to change the way it discloses its activities to users. Rather than take the antitrust approach of the only way to solve this is to break it up, it's more, we're going to take the actions that we can under existing law and change conduct so it's acceptable to Australian consumers and Australian businesses. I don't think that much is going to change.
No,
and if they do, they'll put it, you've got to notice Facebook has updated their terms and conditions. Yeah. Click here to read it, or just scroll to completely ignore it like you do with all the other terms and conditions that are full of lawyer speak that nobody understands or wants to read.
I mean, they've always been open about the fact that they share their data with people to generate ads, and they share data with their shareholders, and like that. They've never said they don't share data. Like,
if you expect any of these services that are free to not be selling your data to make money,
yeah, exactly.
I've got a Sydney Harbour Bridge to sell you. It's rather lovely. Hasn't been used much.
It's been painted by celebrities.
Yeah, Paul Hogan.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't. I don't know.
I don't think much is going to come from it.
No, it's really not. And I mean,
Facebook looks at Australia and goes, "Sure, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll change our whole company just for you."
This is what I don't understand. Like, what are they going to do? Just not provide the service here? I mean, won't affect their. It'll be a fraction of percentage of their users. It's like, and then what? Yeah, I don't. It's like, but Apple's done exactly the same thing for years and years and years. They've in their iTunes app, it's openly specifies that we screen capture your usage. Like it actually says that in there that whatever it's there, it's capturing your data and capturing what you do. But nobody ever reads it. Nobody complains about it.
Facebook, photo sharing places are like, we have the right to use your photos in advertising or any way we want.
Well, so is Facebook. They say that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like we own your photos once you upload them as well. That's part of the clause.
I mean, they make their money through data.
Yeah.
For the only way they can make their money is to sell data, and the vast majority of it gets sold as advertising.
So you could pay $20 a month to Facebook. Would you like to change? They can stop selling your data and get rid of the advertisers. You could pay $20. Oh, nobody's going to go to Facebook anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's the same with like Google, like YouTube Premium. Yep. If you pay whatever it is, $10 a month or $20, don't know what it's worth. But if you pay for Google Premium, they no longer show you ads. They haven't stopped collecting your data or user statistics. They just don't show you the ads.
Yeah.
It's no different. So I don't really know what the expected outcome of that was, but.
Good luck, government. It's just as good as the other one mentioned in that article where you're charging Google and Facebook to index websites in Australia that's got news on them.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like the whole, hey, we're charging GST to every person who sells to Australia from outside of Australia now.
Yeah.
I bet you don't. I bet you every single one of those Chinese company goes, yeah, good luck with that. No, so...
Good luck.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, one of the YouTubers I was watching did a breakdown of statistics between his YouTube Premium members, his normal YouTube members, and then AdBlock members. Like the ones that block, run AdBlock to block the ad revenue. And he was saying that he hopes that YouTube Premium doesn't take off because he gets about a quarter the amount from YouTube Premium than he gets even if half of his subscribers, which they're nowhere near that number, but if half of his subscribers use AdBlock, he still gets like 3/4 more than if all of his subscribers use Premium.
Yeah.
So, he's like, it's just another case of them making so much more money out of it.
Yeah.
Like they're running mid-roll ads now in videos, even if you're not.
Some of them like go for half an hour and they got 10 ads.
Well, I mean that's up to a lot of those are up to the person to put the ads in. But even if you're like Aussie Tech Heads is a non-ad supported channel, we don't get any say, but there are still 2 ads placed in the middle of the video from YouTube that YouTube get the revenue directly from. Yeah, the person whose media they're using doesn't get that,
Thanks, content creators.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for just giving us a free platform to make money from. Yeah. It's, I don't know. They're all like that, but I mean that what do you do? It's not like, I mean, there are other options to YouTube in terms of there are other websites you can upload videos and things like that, and even some of them can be monetized to a point, but it doesn't have the throughput of YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway, it's I think it's going to be like it's going to take another major upheaval for YouTube to restructure. They've gone too far the other way now. They've gone from because they had all this trouble with basically they went from like kids watching adult channels and exploiting kids in videos. In other words, like having kids in videos and monetizing that, and then kids could get money from the ad revenue and blah 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 blah. They did a complete backflip now, and they've gone the complete opposite. So many popular videos on YouTube have either just stopped making content, or they've had to diversify and they've had to start making like other things outside of YouTube, whether it's merchandising, whether it's whatever, whether it's putting subscriptions on a website, or they've had to do these other things to get revenue up now because they can't get revenue at all from YouTube.
Yeah.
But YouTube's still making money on their videos because they're still running pre-rolls. So the video's still getting 10 million views, and YouTube's getting 2 ads per video that's going straight into their pocket.
Yeah.
You know, so...
They don't mind.
No. But anyway, speaking of making things, well, sort of. So over the last few years, 3D printers have really come a long way.
Even you've got a couple.
I've got a couple. I've got a Delta, which is a top print down style. I've got a Cartesian style, which is the normal 3D printer you'd see. There's also the resin ones now, which
They're
print.
supposed to be really good.
They are for detail work and stuff like that. You wouldn't want to use them as your main printer a lot of the time because they're very expensive to run the resin. But if you want to make small parts or complex componentry, or things where you've got they're not really faster, but they've got a lot more inherent strength because they don't do layers like a normal printer does. They do still do layers, but it's not in the same way. They're more like welded together rather than just placed on top of each other. So if you need a stronger component, or you need a fiddly component that you can't get to print, or a weird shape or size or style that just you can't get to stick to the bed, or you can't get to print properly, they're great. And you know the Ender 3 when it came out, I think it was nearly $1,000 printer. It eventually dropped down to $500 or something. The one that I've got, the Delta style, it was $800 when it came out. It dropped down to $300. Most of your Anycubics or your A8 stuff like that were, $700, $800, $1,000 printers. They're down now around $400 to $500. So for $400, you can get a pretty decent quality, semi-reliable, fairly user-friendly printer for the home.
A good Christmas present.
And if you've got a maker, they come in really handy for somebody who looks to design things and prototyping or model making and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, they're fantastic.
It's good for my daughter for her Dungeons and Dragons. You could make all the pieces that go in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, the price has come down now for not only the printer, but there's so many variations and types of filament and materials, and there's basically something for everybody now in terms of printing. But the Monoprice Select V2, for example, which is only a mini printer, it's only got a 200 by 200 by 200 area, so it's only a smaller area. But if you're doing model and stuff like that, it's perfectly fine. And it's like a $200 printer now. But there's this whole new thing has started, and Ford was one of the first major companies to do it. A lot of machine shops are getting them now, but they're actually printing metals. So they're printing alloys, they're printing steels, they're printing molten metal now as a thing. And they're using it for not only prototyping a one-off component, instead of having to get a big giant lump of billet aluminium and putting it through a CNC mill and milling it and drilling it and polishing it, and they literally just print it now.
Nice.
So like I know if you want to see an example of that, go back last year and watch Ken Block's I think it was the Mustang they did, or the Ford Bronco, the truck they did. They actually 3D printed the whole inlet manifold and everything for that for them because they only needed to do one, you know.
Yep.
And okay, the machine's expensive. They're not exactly a consumer grade machine, but they're not that expensive to consider what they do. You know, you can get them for $4,000 or $5,000 for a machine that will print metal, which. Yes, everyone goes, oh, but you can print weapons, and you can, and people do, I'm sure. But
you can make weapons out of other things that are not 3D printed.
Exactly. You can look. Hey, look, there's one there. See, you know.
Yeah.
The thing I ate tea with, or you can get a board and put a nail in it. But yeah, if you're into design, prototyping, model making. R&D, engineering, anything where you need to make a copy multiple times to refine and go, it's a much more better, because that's good English, but it's a much better way of doing it. You're not wasting as much materials. You turn around times faster. It's. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that it's a good present, not only a present for somebody, even for yourself, but the other thing that can be done is a lot of libraries now have maker spaces, and in those libraries, a lot of them have 3D printers, so you can design what you want to print a lot of the time and take it down to your local library, and you can actually print it, which is pretty cool now.
I just helped set up a hackerspace in Sydney called Robots and Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because somebody had a really old rundown house, and we went through and cleaned it up and whippersnippered and mowed the backyard and made all this space available so people can bring in 3D printers and soldering stations and all sorts of stuff.
Yep, that's it. So, but yeah, it's just something to, I'm just trying to think of things, because we are in the school holidays as well, not just necessarily Christmas, but just holidays in general. And it's just something that it's fascinating to watch. Like, I've often caught myself just staring at the 3D printer for like half an hour, just completely zoned out.
Would be interested too, right?
Oh, he loves it. Every time I print something, or I've got a CO2 laser cutter over there, or I've got the CNC, one of the small little CNC mills out in the shed. He loves just standing there watching it. Like, it's just a fascinating thing to look at, Don't look at the laser itself. That's not really a good thing to do. But and this is my point. Like, this stuff has come down like you can get a little 300 by 200 CNC mill that'll mill out timbers and aluminium, and it'll it's $200. Once you learn how to use the software to run it, you can cut out stuff and make stuff. And once again, whether it's model making, whether you want to make something practical, like a lot of people make coasters, for example, like little timber coasters that go under your drinks, and yeah, that's it. That box there, that's cut on a CO2 laser. I can make that with mine. Actually, probably will be making. But even like that, for example, is your stick mixer. You screw that to the inside of the cupboard, and somewhere you can hang your stick mixer so it doesn't take up an entire drawer to itself. So many applications for that sort of stuff these days.
Make your utensils divider.
Yeah, I did make those. I didn't make them very well, apparently. But then obviously there's practical stuff as well. Like that's an adapter. So I've got an adapter that goes to a Ryobi battery pack, and that comes from a Black & Decker battery pack. So I can use my Black & Decker batteries in my Ryobi tools.
Yep.
So there's all sorts of stuff you can do. And one thing I've discovered, whether it's the 3D printer, whether it's the CNC, whether it's the laser machine, they breed creativity. Because you'll often find something. Like, for example, with Cam, we were playing cars, and we had one of those car mats, but we didn't really have a big enough thing. So then I remembered, I got a 3D printer. I can literally just print I can just print tracks to run these Matchbox cars on. So now I've been printing tracks, and we can, run his Matchbox cars on tracks and stuff like that now. So
That sounds like fun.
It's the possibilities of holidays have changed a lot since I was a kid. Like I had holidays and we'd either like go fishing or we'd go for a drive, or it'd be raining and we'd stay inside and play cards. That was pretty much like that was about all you had to do. But these days there's so much.
You can watch some YouTube videos on the free Autodesk Fusion 360 and Designer and stuff to print.
Exactly, and
I did that.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling when you design something from start to finish, and you see it on the screen. That's one thing, but then when you then have the ability to make that a physical object that you're looking at and you're touching and feeling and playing with, that's when you really get excited about the process, and then you want more, and then you want to go to the next thing, which is why I got the laser cutter, because there's some stuff I want to 3D print, but there's some stuff I want to cut out to go. A lot of it is actually to go hand in hand with the stuff I'm 3D printing.
Yep.
So it's this, and I'm like the least creative person you'll ever meet in your life. Like,
I've seen you on Minecraft. You do some more houses.
I don't really do creativity. It's not something I'm really good at, but I enjoy design and engineering and prototyping and manufacturing. Yep. So for me, I see it in my head and it works in my head, and I can design it in my head and make it in my head, and then I go on to the practical side of it. And I think Cam's the same. Like I'm trying to find the thing he got me to build for him the other day. There was something he wanted to do, and I just can't think what it was. And he goes, "Oh, can we print this thing to make it work?" It was a special spanner for something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we sat down and drew a rough drawing of what he wanted it to look like, and then I came in and designed it and printed it off, and it's the best thing ever, But that was his idea. Like, it was his creation. And the ability to see that through to completion, he was just like blown away that he built that,
Pretty cool.
So
you can tell the other kids at school about it.
Absolutely. So, and it's not really a story, but it's just, I'm just throwing ideas out there for ideas.
Emergency responders across Australia will now have access to the geolocation of 000 calls following the deployment of advanced mobile location technology. Communications Minister on Wednesday said the Australian 000 emergency call service had begun using AML to pinpoint those in need of assistance. AML is an emergency call-based location service that automatically sends operators an SMS with the best available coordinators of the caller when an emergency call is made. It's native to smartphones running Android 4.1 or higher and iOS 14.3 or higher, though Apple users will have to enable the capability for it to work. The department has been looking at ways to send location data from emergency callers for a number of years, including following a review of the 000 operator in May 2016. AML was chosen as a preferred solution to provide emergency responders with access to location data following a market testing in August 2016. Technology, which is particularly useful when a caller is incapacitated, is considered around 4,000 times more accurate than previous methods. Until now, 000 operator Telstra used its push MOLI system to triangulate the location of calls using cell towers, even in regional areas where coverage is sparse. AML is capable of providing a caller's location within a 5-metre radius outdoors and a 25-metre radius indoors. Based on deployment of AML in other countries, most calls, about 85%, will provide location accuracy within 50 metres. Telstra has worked with Apple and Google to test AML, as well as Optus and TPG Telecom and emergency service organisations like New South Wales Police and New South Wales Fire and Rescue. The Communications Minister thanked all the organisations that have been involved in delivering AML. AML uses the same location technology that smartphones use to take advantage every day when looking up directions, ordering food through a delivery service, or using a rideshare service. I encourage iPhone users to update their device to iOS 14.3 OS to activate the AML capability when calling 000.
About time, really. I mean, that's been a thing that's been possible to do for a long time. Like I know that in America, for example, they've had the ability to text like 911 for a long time, when it's done something. You know, like they've been able to track you from that. So yeah, certainly long overdue.
That time we got it.
Yeah, it's I've always wondered when, like, because sometimes, especially if your battery's nearly flat, you'd have enough power to send like a text message to Triple O. You may not have enough battery to call it.
Yeah.
But if you could send a text message and say, you know, like ambulance or something to Triple O, and it automatically sends you coordinates with it, I think that'd be, you know, a smart thing. I'm just surprised it's taken so long to happen.
Especially if you can't talk anymore on the phone, but you could just dial it just.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, you may not be able to talk for whatever reason, or you're in a situation where you can't talk, just by, you know, whoever's around you or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing, that's for sure. It's so I'm just having issues again because this stupid pop-up has decided to start popping up again. I have.
Want me to go on?
Yeah, for some reason I have. In ATO has decided that, hey, you need to have this random overlay that just pops up on top of everything else, because you don't need to see what's going on underneath there.
Well, you might have something to talk about this one that I found. What if your electric vehicle could be refueled in less than 5 minutes, Mr. T? What would you do?
Probably exactly the same thing I do now. Still not have one.
No plug, no outlet required. The range anxiety that stymied sales of EVs, forget about it. 3 EVs could meet these demands and allay concerns about owning an emissions-free vehicle. There's just one drawback: you can only find them in California. Welcome to the world of hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles, FCEVs, a tiny market that includes Toyota's Mirai, Hyundai's Nexo, and Honda Motors' Clarity fuel cell. These plugless EVs are the alternative to the battery electric cousins. Drivers can refuel FCEVs at traditional gasoline station less than 5 minutes. The 2021 Mirai gets an EPA estimated 402 miles of range on the XLE trim, with the Nexo close behind at 380 miles. Neither cold weather nor heated seats deplete the range, another added bonus. Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are superior driving machines compared to traditional vehicles, Jackie Birdsall, senior engineer on Toyota's fuel cell team, said. When people hear electric, they only think of battery electric. The battery electric vehicle market is pretty saturated. If we want to have sustainability and longevity, we have to be diverse. He said the 2021 Mirai owners will receive $15,000 in free hydrogen, or enough money to cover the first 67,000 miles. It costs about $90 to fill up the car's 5.6 kilogram tank. These giveaways could help change consumers' minds to try an FCEV. What do you reckon?
Look, yes, there is a place for hydrogen. Normal consumer vehicles, I don't think so. Just not yet. It's complicated, but basically there's a bit of stigmatism with hydrogen. Some of it's warranted, some of it not so much, but it's not. They always, when they're advertising, they make it seem clean cut. It's not quite as simple as that. Plus, I mean, the infrastructure's not there even remotely at the moment. And there is no plan B. Like with an electric vehicle, worst case scenario, you do run out of range. You can just get someone, if you have to, go to a house and plug an extension lead in, or fire up a generator and wait for it to charge. Like, there is a get out of jail free card with that. With hydrogen, there's not. If you run out of fuel, you're done. You can't do anything about it. There's no hydrogen refueling trucks.
Can't get a jerry can and take it down to the local station and fill it up.
Exactly, and this is the thing. hydrogen on demand is different, and hydrogen on demand is a good idea, but once again, it has its limitations. I think hydrogen would be perfectly serviceable for long-range vehicles that are already, that would be fine. But I
Trucks
think,
and buses.
there would be enough range in those vehicles to make it practical. Installation of hydrogen points is far more difficult than putting an electrical point in to charge a vehicle. Plus, it's very inefficient to store. Hydrogen does not like being highly pressurized, so it's a very inefficient storage medium. Like a massive big, like one of those tanks you see at the service stations full of LPG. Those big tanks, I can't remember what they are. They're 20,000 litres or something of LPG. But that same thing in hydrogen would only be like 1,000 litres. Like, it just doesn't compress to the same ratio. So your storage is dearer. Your, I like it to some degree. But for the average person, I don't. Look, it's one of those things. I don't think it'll ever be as popular as just a straight EV. There is, as I said, there certainly is a place for it, but it's not. It's not going to. It would be suitable probably if you're in a major city, or you just stay on the major highways, major roads. There's going to be nobody who can service them. Because it's hydrogen, it's a pressurized system, it's an explosive system. It's going to have to be only certified people are going to be able to work on it. At least with an EV, most of the things can be worked on by the average person. There's not too much that's scary in an EV, from that point of view, anyway. So if you do break down the middle of nowhere, it's I don't know. It may be viable in the future. Also, the production of hydrogen isn't as clean and tidy as I'd like you to think it is either. The production of hydrogen is a fairly hungry process in and of its power hungry process in and of itself. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I love EVs, but I'm not. There's still a place for normal internal combustion engines too. Like, I don't feel they're outdated yet. I believe there's still plenty of life left in those as well. And there's other mediums that we could be doing to those to make them run better. You could be implementing hydrogen as an assist to an internal combustion engine. You could be implementing the old school they used to do during the war. They used to run them on methane. They used to run them. There's all these other things that can be done to an internal combustion engine to make it completely, efficient as well. So, I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But the fact that I know Toyota is. There's very, very few manufacturers focusing on hydrogen at the moment.
Yep.
A lot of that's infrastructure related as well. And so the infrastructure is just not there.
Yep.
So, but yeah. So in the chat, Raiders, Mark Rogers is great. His Glitter Bomb 3 he's just released. He does every Christmas. If you haven't checked out his Glitter Bomb videos, he just dropped the new one. I think it was yesterday or today. The new one's just come out. It's hilarious. And what was that about? What 3 words? Yes, What 3 words is great. I do have my What 3 words written down. It's not many people know about it. I don't think it's taken off as much as people would have liked it to. But it's quite literally, it's basically broken the world up into 3x3 meter grids, and every grid has so a street address, especially if you've got a property, is not super accurate because it could be 1,000 acres, But if you have the What 3 words, which is literally broken up to a 3x3 grid, you can click on that particular grid and it'll give you 3 words. So it might give you, I don't know, let me just pick a random location here because it is so super accurate. I can't, gotta be careful where I actually do it. Let's do Ipswich because it's like my closest major town. Where are we? So if we go to, say, there we go, middle of Ipswich. Let's pick where the shopping centre is here. So I could go say, oh, what happened there? Oh, okay, don't click that button. That's a bad button to press. So let's see. Okay, let's go to the hospital. So if you wanted to actually go, like, the hospital has an address, obviously. So the Ipswich Hospital address is, whatever it is, Kempsford Avenue, West Ipswich. Or I can literally take you to the emergency entrance driveway by simply telling you, that's ironic, improving pills typist. Literally takes you to the driveway of the emergency room of the Ipswich Hospital. So if you went to what 3 word, you typed in improving pills typist, it would literally take you to that exact spot. There's within a 3x3 deviation. So it's
Good.
yeah.
They should integrate that into emergency phone calls.
I believe some emergency services, I don't know if they are or are talking about using it. It's a really, I know, like,
The car's broken down, sir. Where's it at? Chicken microphone television.
yeah, pretty much.
What?
I don't think, like, they're definitely not in Australia. That's for sure. But I'm sure there would be some countries that are advanced enough, like somewhere, especially somewhere that has a lot of open places, like America or really obscure places. You think of the terrain in Iceland or Antarctica. I'm just making stuff up. I mean, like,
yep.
I'm next to that or the middle of the desert. I'm near that sand dune that's over there. Like,
I think I can see a tree, but it might be a mirage.
Yeah, that's it. But you could, like, it's amazing the concept behind this. It's literally just gridded up the entire world into a 3x3, and then you can click on, you can find where you are, which if you're using your phone, obviously it would automatically know where you are because it would use the GPS data to. The reason they use a 3x3 grid is because that's the accuracy of the public GPS is approximately 3x3 meters. But you could go, oh look, I'm stuck in the middle of the Simpson Desert, but I'm at Destinations Disgraced Masters. And they'd be able to figure out where it is. So it's pretty cool. I do like that idea, but hardly anybody even knows about it. I remember playing with this ages ago, actually, and I was surprised. It came up in the chat by Raiders actually mentioned it, but I'm really surprised anybody's even heard of it. I had forgotten about it, to be honest. It's been that long since I've even heard anybody mention it. Google has yet another outage.
Oh.
They didn't spend a lot of time this time saying why. But basically they say the crux of the issue, now tagged as Google Cloud Infrastructure Components Incident 20013, was reduced capacity for Google Central Identity Management System, blocking any services that require users to log in. The root cause is an issue in Google's automated storage quota management system, which in turn reduced the capacity of the authentication system. So basically, yeah, the storage system just pulled the data out from the login system. You don't need to know anything. So that's pretty much what happened there.
Somebody was saying, whichever coder did a git revert on that one, we love you, man.
But it's their third incident in...
yeah, even Gmail was out a bit today.
Yeah, the third incident in 2 months. It wasn't as long as the 5 hours that Amazon Web Services were out for a couple of weeks ago.
Oh. I might have to stop paying Google all this money for my Gmail and YouTube and stuff.
And yeah, that's it. They're not spending it very wisely.
Yeah.
And Microsoft,
all that money they're making from our podcast, man, they should be able to have a good system by now.
That's it. All those millions
maybe
and millions
3
of views.
computers.
It's at least 2 second-hand hard drives.
Yeah. If we can broadcast from the future,
that's it.
Come on.
The Microsoft's Azure outage happened. Was it a few weeks ago as well on 365? But apparently, the way this article is written, they all seem to be happening in a very similar fashion. They all seem to be storage errors in the logon servers, which basically means that it doesn't know you need to log on because there's no data to tell you that you need to log on. So the cookies are correct. The cookies see that you're logged in and it's doing its job to log you in, but the system doesn't know to request the cookies because there's no data coming through the login protocols. And then if you do, things like the captures don't work because there's no data on what the capture's supposed to be. So you can never get the capture right. So, but apparently all the in the last 3 or 4 months, well, the vast majority of the outages have all had a very, very similar premise, and it's across multi-platform. So it makes you wonder. You know, they've all got their own Google's got storage, Amazon's got storage, Microsoft's got storage. Like, they've all got their own major storage systems. They've all had a very similar problem. So does that mean they're all, at the end of the day, using the same storage management software?
Seems like it, doesn't it?
You know, so it just seems a bit weird.
It's that evil free Linux software, I bet.
Oh, it's Linux's poor
Only
cousin.
hackers use that.
It's Linux's poor cousin. It's probably Unix. It's a Unix fault.
Well, for my last one, maybe you're feeling nostalgic for a classic James Bond film following Sean Connery's passing away, or perhaps you're simply feeling a gap given that the next film, No Time to Die, got pushed back to April 2021 or beyond. Either way, you can now binge a sizable selection of the James Bond collection completely for free with ads from YouTube, Peacock, and Pluto TV. You can also find most of the films on Hulu and Amazon Prime this month, though you'd have to pay for those subscriptions, and Netflix has Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and 3 Pierce Brosnan flicks, including GoldenEye. So if you want something to do these holidays, go catch up or binge watch all of your favourite James Bond movies.
I was watching... What was the one I was watching today? The one with... I can never remember his name. He only ever did one. Not Roger Moore.
Timothy Dalton?
Timothy Dalton, yeah. And I'm like, that's right. That's why I only ever did one.
Yeah. One was enough.
The only other movie I've ever... I think it was called Moosehead. Or Moose something. Let me quickly look it up. It's the only other movie I've been able to sit through that he's actually been in. Yeah. Wait. It doesn't even come up. That's interesting.
Didn't exist. You dreamt it.
No, I'm sure it exists. I had it on. Had it on
How
video.
many wild turkeys did you have before this?
I had it on video CD. That's how I know it exists. Okay, that's not what it's called. They've got it down as saltwater moose. Maybe it was. It's been. I only ever watched it once, and it was a long time ago. Let's see. The saltwater moose. If it's on VCD, then that would be it. Yes, it's on VCD. Okay, so that's the movie. 1996. Yeah. So there you go. That's any other movie I remember him being in. So I don't know what that's saying about him, but yeah, I don't mind. I go through stages with Bond. I just don't want to know about it for
months.
Yeah, I don't want to know about it for months, and then all of a sudden, or years, really.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I'll watch it for, I'll sit down and just watch basically every movie from one to the other, from end to end, over a weekend or whatever. I find them weird like that. I do with Harry Potter. Like, we hadn't watched Harry Potter for ages, and then sat down and watched all of them, and then we'll watch another day. Something obscure that I probably shouldn't have been watching. Some weird movie that I couldn't stand. And I'm like that, like, oh man, I didn't like that movie last time I watched it. I'm going to watch it this time and see if I like it.
Nope.
No, sometimes yes. Sometimes I'll change my mind on a movie. Or I've watched this movie 30 times. It's brilliant. And like, watch this. This isn't the movie that I'm sure this is different. There's a movie I've got. It's called. It's gone to 60 seconds. It's the original one from the late 70s, not the Nicolas Cage one. The guy's called H.B. Malachi, the guy who designed it and made it, shot it, acted in it, wrote it, edited it. He did like pretty much everything. And there's one version that I've always known. I grew up with it like on Betamax, and then I got it on VCR, and then it was the first movie I got on DVD, and then it was the first movie I downloaded. And then recently they've had it on one of the sites I use to watch streaming videos.
Yep.
And it's in a different version. I'm like,
Oh.
because I've always had the director's cut. I didn't realise I'd only ever had the director's cut.
Oh, okay.
This was the original non-director's cut, and it's like 15 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Where's the rest?
that's not the two coolest parts of the movie are missing. So, but it's weird how just having, whether it's a minute or 15 minutes different in a movie, completely changes the way a movie can come across.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like Titanic. I watched a 3-minute trailer of it and it was fantastic.
When you watch the movie.
I watched a 4.5-hour version of the movie and it wasn't. I don't know why that's not that long of a movie. It's really not. It just feels really long. Oh, dear.
Any more for you?
Just quickly, they've just updated the iOS 14.3 has just come out. Didn't fix a lot of the issues that the previous version had and has introduced some new bugs. A couple of them are new. They actually managed to introduce a couple of new ones. Nothing major, more just annoyances like the messaging function doesn't work properly. A lot of the time notifications just won't come through, whether it's messages or emails or SMSs. They just don't push. So often you'll have to go into your Messenger app and just see if there's literally anything there because they don't come through. Apparently the battery drain issue has actually been made worse.
Oh, jeez, good one.
But it doesn't show itself straight away. It takes like a dozen recharge cycles before it rears its head.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just a few minor things that doesn't have any practical. It was supposed to fix the issues they created when they rolled the last one out. It hasn't really done that, and it's introduced a couple others. So you might want to just
AML for your 000 call.
You may just want to be holding off a bit on the iOS updates. So, but yeah, that's about it, really.
Thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Heads Show, broadcast weekly. We can be found at facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, twitter.com/Aussie Tech Heads, and youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Also now at patreon.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Sign up for $4 a month, $10 a month, or from several other tiers. See the site for details.
Wow,
And coffee.com, ko-fi.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Make a one-off donation of any size. Email us Glenn Will Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au. You can hear Aussie Tech Heads on aussietechradio.com, 24/7 back-to-back play of some of the best tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. New shows added each Friday. Have a great Christmas, and we'll see you next year sometime.
Probably, maybe, if you're really, really unlucky.
If you're good, Sandra will tell us.
That's it. See you later.